All right, we're back. It's Just Soccer, the podcast, episode 4. Sam and McGee, by the way, just had a great chat with the legend Robbie Keane. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you find and subscribe to our YouTube page. A lot of stuff there. Accent's incredible. I think honestly, you should listen to it alone because Sam basically, I joked like it's like he was talking to Sidney Sweeney, talking to Robbie Keane. He was like choked up. He couldn't even get words out. He was talking about how like, oh, you're the reason I'm a Spurs fan. It was like unbelievable. So for that alone, you need to check out that interview on our YouTube page. That'll be all over our socials too. But we are back today with a longer form podcast. After basically every team has played, we're taping this actually as Uzbekistan and Colombia play. So you'll have to forgive us. We're missing one game. But we wanted to check in after every team played basically one game. Sam's with me, and we've got a special guest with us, a guy that I think I've done one pod with before on Sam's Army. Syracuse, the pride of Syracuse University, friend of Sam's Army, New England Revs own, New England Revs own, DC United zone. Actually, you're in DC United now. We're just talking about that in the schedule change. It's Alex Bono. What's up, Alex? How we doing?
I am great, Steve. Thanks for having me on. Happy to little banter about with this first game of the World Cup.
Yeah, man. It's been fun. Like I think, we're gonna do a little bit thing later about like our power rankings of the most fun fans because there's been a bunch of groups that have just been awesome. I think everyone's kind of playing for second with the Scots, but it feels like everyone was kind of worried about the World Cup being here. There was all this drama yet, and now that it's here, it's like it seems like everyone's having an awesome time. The first full like week of games and things like that. Dudes are partying. The Scots are basically putting everybody like drinking all the beer in Boston. They took over Fenway Park. So I feel like vibes are high in America, which is the first time I feel like we can maybe say that in a while. So it's been good. The World Cup is somewhat healing us, guys.
I love it. I was a little bit worried about how it was going to go, and I don't think I could have imagined it being as good as it's been so far. Like every single stadium has been pretty much packed. The fans in front of the stadiums, in the fan zones, it's looked incredible. And so I think for the first round, it's been better than advertised.
We knew it was going to go this way, right? I mean, like in the lead up, there's always just so much negativity about sort of everything. It's just the way of the world these days. But once the games get going, everybody kind of chills out a little bit, and some of the political narratives just take a back seat. And we just focus on the games and focus on the soccer. And the soccer has been great, which we're going to get into now.
Yeah, I think what we're going to do is we're going to run through each group. I've got a question for you guys, basically based on every group, and then you guys can take it in whatever direction you want. But I'll start in reverse order because I want to do with the games that we've like most recently played. We saw England today. We saw Portugal. Like I said, we're watching the Colombian team right now. So I'm going to start with Group L. How about this? And here's my question. England beat Croatia. I think everyone thought those were the top two teams in the group. People were kind of worried about Croatia being like, hey, Modric is 40. He did give up a pen today. Not great. They did score 2 goals, made it interesting at halftime, but England wins 4-2. So I guess my question to you guys is, are we going to learn anything about England in this group stage? Because now they basically play, I don't want to be disrespectful, but Ghana did have a nice win today, 1-0 over Panama. But are we going to really learn anything about this England squad that I think we did have some question marks about, but their group isn't terribly difficult. So I'll start with you, Alex. What are we thinking?
I don't think we're going to learn much from them in the group stage. And I think it carries on from their qualifying campaign. I don't think they gave up a goal in qualifying. I heard the broadcast say they were 10 games without conceding a goal in competition, not friendlies, not included in that. So they've kind of had an easy run through qualifying, as easy as that can be. I think their group is pretty weak. Croatia is the second best team in the group. So I think we're going to have to wait to see more from them until they get to the knockout round.
I completely agree. I think that that first game against Croatia was massive for England, and the fact they won that, I think essentially sets them up to kind of coast through the group stage, which at the end of the day might not be a good thing. The fact that they're not really going to get tested here. I mean, we just watched the Ghana Panama game, and neither one of those teams looks particularly dangerous.
Yeah.
So I think Croatia gave England their best shot. I think they're going to kind of get leggy as the game goes on, or as the tournament goes on. You got, Modric, you got Perisic, you got Kovacic. All the Sitches are like 35 plus at this point. I know Kovacic may not be.
I feel like I've been watching them since I was a teenager.
Right.
Yeah. It's been the same core for forever.
They're gonna get leggy as the tournament goes on, and I think that that was kind of the best that they have to offer, and it wasn't that great to be honest. They didn't create that many chances. They did do some damage in the first half with the few chances that they had. That second goal that they scored right before halftime was that was incredible. But I just don't think Croatia, again, I don't think either one of any of those three teams not named England in Group L are going to be competitive in this tournament based on what I've seen so far.
I don't know if, I mean, the second goal that Croatia scored was a great goal, but what are they doing defensively? I mean, they've got 8 guys at the top of the box. I get it. Like, you're okay, we'll hold on till halftime, but it was just poor defending, and they looked a bit disorganized throughout the game, really. And like, they have better quality, they're a better team. And so they come out on top. And of course, Harry Kane was the best goal scorer in the world this year. So he's going to produce for them. But they show signs of being disorganized. They show signs of kind of not having, I don't know, the connections between them seemed a little bit off. It just seemed like they weren't on the same page. The way that Tuchel has them playing is a bit, I mean, guys are kind of all over the place. Declan Rice is playing left back in the buildup. So it's a bit weird in that sense for me. So I don't know. I think they're going to coast through the group stage, but once they get to some real competition, some of the best teams in the world, I think they're going to have a tough time.
That's where I stand too. It's honestly just like a vibe thing too, because you're right. Like they 22 goals, none allowed in qualifying. Now that was like Albania, Serbia, Latvia, Andorra. Like it's like what did we really learn from that either? But I think you are correct. Like that, they just did look sloppy at the back. We talked about they didn't bring Harry Maguire. That was a whole big thing. Another thing was they brought Jordan Henderson, which I do understand even if he doesn't play. But it's like, this team, I think, is still kind of flawed, but you're right. Harry Kane, the way if he's in this kind of form, and he's, I mean, right now the best, like out and out, I guess number 9 probably in the world right now. I know you're obviously, Sam, familiar with him. Ports him out for the Tottenham fans a little bit, but like if he's playing like at this level, like they're capable of probably anything. But I am worried about that backline. John Stones just didn't play a lot this year for Man City, and now he's just like stunned. Tuchel obviously loves him. Maybe it'll be like a justice for Gareth Southgate thing, where it's like, hey, like he did play a boring brand of the sport, but they made a couple finals here and there. They've obviously won a lot. They didn't win any trophies necessarily. Maybe that was the thing that he could hang his hat on. But I do like them taking the chance on Tuchel, even if they don't reach the same heights. But I do have my concerns with them guys for sure. Do we think Croatia should be fine though? They'll probably still qualify through this group. Seems like
probably.
Who's their next game? Who do they play next?
Let's take a look.
That is a good question.
Because like Sam was saying,
Panama. They got Panama
next. Yeah. Okay. So
yeah.
If they get 3 points against Panama, then I think they probably get out of the group. But I actually think playing Ghana last hurts them. Like you said, they're going to get tired. The minutes are going to wear on for them. And Ghana's a team that will punish you in transition, has a lot of athleticism, has good players. Like, there's no doubt about it. I think they were for sure the better team in the game today. So third game against Croatia, there's a world where they could get a result. Ghana can get a result there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But even so, yeah, like 3 points could still get you through, right? Which is just the weirdness of this 48-team World Cup, and
right.
Who knows? No first place teams know who they're even going to play based on things. It should be pretty fun. It would be weird. All right, any other Group L thoughts? And again, the irony of England being in Group L. But any other Group L thoughts before we move on?
Nah, it felt like a chalky group going in, and I still sort of feel that way. Yeah, not
all right.
3 teams that aren't dangerous, and England.
Speaking of not dangerous, Portugal's attack today with Cristiano Ronaldo. We'll move on to Group K. They draw Congo. Congo, I said this before the tournament. They've got some guys. They're not just going to be a pushover. Now, did I think they would get a point off of Portugal? No. I did want to fade Portugal before the tournament. I think a lot of people were picking them as like a top 5 team to maybe win it. I just don't see that. They have an incredible midfield. I don't know that I love their defense. And I think the attack, again, with Cristiano Ronaldo, like if he's going to play 90 minutes as the number 9 and not really do much, not pass, and basically just kind of be this like, I don't know, just 1-year-old dude who's just looking for vibes out there, I think that's a huge problem. And, you could talk about wanting to bench him and yada, yada, Roberto Martinez, but I'm like, I wonder if he just took that job, basically, like if you take that job, it's because like you're just going to play Ronaldo because that's what you have to do. Like, does he have the actual power to even bench a guy like that? So they do draw their first game. I don't think like the sky is falling. And again, we're saying this as Colombia is playing Uzbekistan. I did bet Colombia to win this group. I think it was plus 200. So I did like that Portugal draw. But I'll ask you guys this, and I'll start with you, Sam. Is that a blip for Portugal, or is this going to be a trend?
I think, just to answer your question, I think it's going to be a blip. But that takes a lot of assumptions into. I'm assuming a lot here, and let me tell you why. So, coming into this, I said that Ronaldo is going to be a problem. I love this Portugal team. Their midfield is, basically the best in the world. I like this team. Ronaldo is going to be a problem. I also said that Roberto Martinez, their coach, is also perhaps a problem. Now I'm going to perhaps change my opinion on that based on him starting Ronaldo in that first game. These might be words that nobody's ever said, nobody's ever heard. Roberto Martinez might be a genius because starting Ronaldo in that game, Bono's like, what the fuck are you
I'm
about
ready
to say
to
that
what-
here?
what-
Can't wait to hear this.
Listen,
Can't wait to hear this take.
I'm waiting for all time.
Roberto Martinez starting Ronaldo in that game and giving him all those minutes, I think, again, maybe he's just a dumbass or maybe he's a genius. I think it was genius because it basically showed Ronaldo, yeah, you're not at this level, buddy. You're not at this level.
That's like 4D chess then.
Yes.
Okay.
He's playing
All
4D chess. Everybody thought, Roberto Martinez is like a checkers player. No, he might be playing 5D chess on everybody right here. Playing Ronaldo that much, giving him the sort of a leash to essentially, hoist his own petard or however the hell that saying goes. Like, he was awful. Ronaldo was bad. And I think he was bad enough that he probably knows it. And he's like, okay.
No chance. No
maybe.
chance.
There's not a chance in
A
hell.
lot of assumptions are going on here.
There's not a chance. There's not a chance in hell that he walks into that locker room afterwards and he's like, man, if I, that one's on me, guys.
Boys,
like, it's just not.
Listen, lads,
I'll be better next time. That's not the way he operates.
Nope.
And that hasn't been the way he's operated for his entire career. And for a guy who prides himself and his best self is the fitness and the competitiveness and the work ethic and doing it at the highest level all the time, it's to a point where they can't figure out how to get him out of there. They can't figure out how to have him take a role that's lesser than being a guy who starts as a striker, which is not his position.
He doesn't first of all, he doesn't have a position on this team other than
not
maybe
there.
Super sub.
His position
5-8
should
minutes
be sitting
off the
next
bench.
to.
But he's never ever gonna accept a
That's
super sub.
exactly what I said coming into this tournament.
Especially, and this is for me, it's not even a debate. So let's not get into it. Especially the day after Messi goes and bangs a hat trick in the late game, and he's watching it. He's like, "All right, my turn," and then he lays out a dud. But he's saying, "Well, I gotta go prove myself again. I can do it. I take care of my body better than anybody." It's like, no, dude. I think that time has passed you, and it's at a point where they can't figure out how to give him a role that fits the player that he can be for them.
Right. Yeah. His role should be sitting next to Alexi Lalas and Thierry Henry and Zlatan on the Fox desk. That's what his role should be. But he just will not accept that role. Although who knows? I don't even know if he'd be good on TV or not. He might be. I don't know. He might be too much of an egomaniac to really even be good at that. Who knows? But he should be doing something else. Obviously, at this point, I'm with you, Bones. Like, I feel like that Messi performance was the single worst thing that could have happened to Portugal. Like, it was the single worst thing. Because then he's like, well, I'm here. I could do this. Why not? And it's like, no. Because Messi, we'll get to Argentina in a little bit. That dude can obviously still play. I mean, you've seen it up close and personal, Bones. Like, that dude can still play, and I think Argentina still needs him. This Portugal team is good enough where I don't think they actually need Ronaldo, but he's going to be there.
100%.
He's an anchor. He's an absolute anchor on the team. And I'm going to say, listen, we will see the next game that Portugal play. So they play Uzbekistan next week. If Ronaldo starts that game, then we know for sure Roberto Martinez is an absolute idiot. If he doesn't start that team, if he doesn't start,
I don't even think he's an
game,
idiot. I think that's like, again, like, it's like, hey, like, what are your plans for the job? And it starts with Ronaldo because he's just not going to allow, and the Federation, I just don't think is going to allow anyone to make the decision to bench him. Like, it's just not going to happen.
If there's one situation where Ronaldo has taken a step back and been slightly less of an egomaniac, it is with Portugal. And I'm saying, if there's a chance here for Portugal, and I think there is, he needs to take a step back. And I think that performance in the first game against Congo, if that doesn't humble him, nothing will. because that was awful, especially coming off of, Messi scoring a hat trick, Haaland scoring however many goals he scored, Mbappe scoring, Kane has now scored. Like all the goal scorers, all the superstars have stepped up and sort of announced their presence, and Ronaldo laid an absolute egg. So
Let's
yeah.
do a little fun activity. You can be Roberto Martinez, and you can tell me Ronaldo that I'm not starting next game. Go ahead.
Time for you to sit down, bud. Sit your ass on the bench. Sit your ass on the bench and shut the fuck up.
You and the Tunisia coach, you can go look for new jobs together.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, listen, this is
and then there's a new
it's a
coach
no-win
there, like,
situation.
It's not going to happen.
Didn't he, Roberto? I think he already announced too that he's done after the tournament.
So he's got nothing to lose. Sit his ass down.
you're right. You're right. He should have more authority to be like, I don't care. I'm out anyway. So who
he's
really
dead
cares?
duck or what? Lame duck. Lame duck coaching.
Lame duck. That's the one.
Do you want to be the guy that? I mean, it would be crazy. But do you want to be the guy that benches Ronaldo?
No.
In his last World Cup, like there's nothing more important than them doing as well as they possibly can at the tournament. Secondary to that, it's you cannot go down as the guy who benched Ronaldo and made this huge stir in one of the best players ever's last World Cup. And make that
think
the
about
reason
how
why
legendary it would be if he did that and then they won it. Like think about how like he would.
Yeah.
The whole
risk is
narrative
high.
about Roberto Martinez would go out the window. It'd be a whole
40
narrative.
chess.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
5D chess player. There you go.
I don't know if that happens regardless, but like I don't think they have a chance to win it regardless. Like I think they have a really good team, but the way some of the teams have started this tournament, I know it's just game day 1, but there's probably a team in each group that I would pick over them, including in their own group. Like Cerruti was saying that I'd pick over them to win the tournament.
I'm much higher on Portugal than you guys are right now. I think they're still a live team,
crazy.
a dangerous team. And I think, Ronnie, listen, just eat a little piece of humble pie, and maybe you can get your World Cup, and sort of be on Messi's level. Because that, honestly, if Martinez has one argument to make to maybe get in Ronaldo's head, just be like, look, if you want a World Cup, you want to be on that level with Messi, then sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up.
Didn't they win the Euros with him on the bench too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, he got hurt,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But he was on the bench.
Food for thought. Food for thought.
It's just again, not saying, just saying.
Remember he was coaching. He was coaching on the sideline.
Yeah.
He was doing
on the
Roberto
field
Martinez's
coaching.
job. He was on the field coaching
God.
with the ice wrap around his calf or whatever. Yeah.
Last thing on this group, though, by the way, since we can't really say anything about Colombia or Uzbekistan at this point, Congo look good. They
they
a
got
lot
some
of African teams like Morocco, Egypt, Ivory Coast, maybe Cape Verde. I'm not sure quite on that one yet. They're good. They're like, these are legitimate competition for anybody in this tournament.
Totally
So
agree.
That was cool to see.
Yeah, and just to put a bow on the Group K thing, I think it is a trend, but I was saying this before the tournament with Portugal. I just don't buy it. So I think it is a trend, and it will continue. And they'll make it to the knockouts. Obviously, I can't see them up there with the big boys. Speaking of the big boys, Group J, this is Messi. I don't want to even say he turned back the clock because I just think this is who he is now. But he puts 3 past an Algeria team that I think we've seen better Algeria teams in the past. Even though I think there's still some names on that squad list, I'm not sure that they are who we maybe thought they were, to quote Dennis Green back in the day. But I think my main question here, is Messi, dare I say, is he still a top 10 player in the world, Bones? What do we think?
Yeah, I for sure think he is. I want to put out a PSA, and everyone wants to shit on MLS and he's playing in MLS and he skates around these guys. Guys, just so everyone's aware, if they haven't watched him for the last 20 years, he does that everywhere he goes. And he still does it because he's the single best player to ever play the sport. And he still does it because he's still in really good shape. He has magic feet. And he also, by the way, still has good players around him. Like, this Argentina team is legit. They have dudes all over the field. And so if anyone is like, I'm not surprised that he goes and scores a hat trick against Algeria. Like you said, Algeria is not kind of the team that they had been in the past. They kind of had their like golden generation, and it seems like it's kind of on the back end of that currently. But yeah, like it's impressive. I think he's still a top 10 player in the world. I don't see a reason why he's not. I can't think of 10 guys that I rather have on my team right now besides him.
He's incredible. He's not human. Like that is just ridiculous at whatever age, 38 years old, he is. He's not a human person. That's all I gotta say about him. Yeah, I heard a lot of people questioning Argentina coming into this tournament. Shout out Mikey Fowler. And yeah, I think
Right, put him on blast. There you go.
You
can't let the argument
when he
too
can't
high.
defend himself.
Yeah,
that's the best time to do it.
We'll have him on at some point. Yeah.
That performance was it's just, he's incredible. I'm not really willing to write off Algeria quite yet. I thought that they looked competitive for the first 10 minutes, and they had a goal, brought back that I think would have probably changed the game a little bit. But yeah, I'm not willing to write them off quite yet. But Argentina was very impressive, and it's not just the Messi show, as Bones was saying. Like they got a lot of talent around him. It was kind of a question coming into this tournament whether like winning the World Cup last time would be kind of like almost like, well, a lack of motivation this time, or as we just had Robbie Keane on, he was saying that he thinks that it'll be kind of a monkey off their back and they're going to play free, and he thinks that they're extra dangerous coming in this tournament. That might, based on that performance, hard to say no to that. So yeah, Argentina they're a live one. They're a dangerous one.
We just had a great guy, Taylor Twellman, everybody knows him, on with Ron Russillo's show, the show I work primarily with at Barstool, and he made a point today. He thinks Messi is better now than he was even 4 years ago, just because of the pressure. Like, he's playing with house money, right? He doesn't have like maybe this. I mean, I don't. His point wasn't like skill wise that he's better, but like he basically is just, this is like a free roll of the dice, right? Like he's already won everything. He's completed the sport essentially. He's won all the Ballon d'Ors. He's won the World Cup. He's won the Champions League. He's won La Liga. Like, this is just like, hey man, I'm just having fun out here with my guys, and like that team still loves him. But I would argue, going back to our Ronaldo discussion, I think they still need him. And I still think they're built around him. And, like, if you took him off this team, I think there's, like, a gap there that they just don't have a guy who can, like, lead them in that way. Like, I like Lautaro Martinez. I think Alvarez is going to be an unbelievable player. He is now, but obviously in the next 5 or whatever years. They certainly have a ton of talent, but I still think they're kind of built around – they're built to play with Messi. Like, this is their entire system. So without him – I actually don't think that they would really have a chance to win the World Cup, whereas I think the opposite for Portugal. I think without Cristiano, I think they actually do have a chance to win the World Cup. But yeah, it's incredible. The only reason I really was like didn't really have Argentina winning it this year or even in the final was just because of like the back-to-back kind of curse, which France broke a little bit last time around, but it's just so hard, two cycles in a row to win the World Cup. I think what was the last time with Brazil in
with
98, 2002.
Yeah. Oh, was that recent?
Right? Was it 98, 2002? I think I could be wrong on that. But no, you're actually right. Maybe it was Pele.
I think
we'll get research
Pele,
on that. Who
Brazil,
knows? It's hard to do no matter what. So that was really the only reason. That was the only doubt I had about Argentina going into this tournament.
Yeah, I think it's they were good enough, and they are good enough that I'm not willing to write off Algeria quite yet. So to round out the rest of the group, Austria, they look good in their first game against Jordan, but it was against weak opposition. I'm not really willing to make any judgment based on that game at all. So I actually still have, I said it in the pregame or in the pre-tournament pod that I think Algeria might finish second. I'll stick with that. Even though Austria got the win, I just wasn't that impressed with it. Jordan, I just don't think Jordan is any good. And so I'll stick with Algeria as my second team coming out of this group.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. I actually like that too. I thought it was actually a really competitive game for the majority, and like a couple messy strokes of magic make it feel a bit further out of hand than it was, right? And then once they're up a couple goals, they've got Algeria chasing. They can play possession around him, and they can really open him up. But for me, Algeria was competitive in that game. Like Sam was saying, they had a goal called off early that could have changed the entire game. They do have talented players. So, I actually like that. I like that second in the group for them.
And yes, just to clear up my error, they did make it was in the 50s, 60s that Brazil went back to back, but they did go to 3 straight finals. I think 94, 98, and then 2002. So that's what I was thinking of. But yeah, it's just hard to do that, man. And exactly. They only won the last one, 2002, right? I'm with you guys. Like, I think Austria is one of those teams though where they just always kind of outperform what their guys are, and they're kind of on like this sort of like last ride. They get a lot of older dudes on the team. I think I still like them to finish second, but yeah, like you know, Messi and the boys are rolling, and you know, I think they've got to be obviously be up there with the favorites. Okay, Group I. Maybe like one of the more interesting groups. I mean, it's certainly the most probably top heavy group that we have with 3 teams and then Iraq. Norway put on a show first and foremost. Holland made his entrance to the World Cup, and then France, basically a team of 2 halves, looked dead in the first half against Senegal, and then completely came alive in the second half. My question here, I guess I have 2 questions. One, after you've seen one game from each team, do you think Senegal or Norway finished second? Start with you, Sam.
I got Norway. I think Senegal is a dangerous team and maybe a little bit better than I thought coming into the tournament. Obviously, I wasn't that impressed when we played them. They just kind of looked.
Well, we're a wagon right now, so you know.
It's true. It's true.
We're
we
like
are world
2012
beaters.
Barcelona right now. So
we'll get to Group D in a minute. Listen, Senegal looked decent the first half. Then France came alive. Maybe just even Michael Olise came alive because he was incredible that second half. And they just looked like, okay, this is the France we were expecting. Mbappe, by the way, was not very good in that entire game, but he did have, the few moments that really all it takes. I have Norway because I think their attack is good enough to play with anybody, including France. I'm just not sold on their defense. So I'll go with Norway to finish second. Senegal probably third. Iraq honestly didn't look that bad. I think they just got a terrible draw. If they were in a different group, I think they might be a little bit more sort of dangerous. But in this group with France and Norway especially, but also I think Senegal, I just think Iraq got a tough draw.
I think there's a world. Well, if you ask me at halftime of the France game, there was a very strong world where Norway gets a result against France and can actually top the group. I didn't watch a ton of them in qualifying, but the record speaks for themselves, and they have a really good team. One of my favorite things about the World Cup when it comes around is you look at the lineups and you're like, oh, I haven't heard of this guy, or I haven't seen this guy, or where does this guy play? And you look at Norway's lineup. I think I was looking at the entire roster, all but like 5 or 6 of their guys in the entire roster play in top 5 leagues. And so this isn't a team that's like built up of all these domestic players in the Norwegian league. And by the way, 4 of them were on the Bodo Glimt team that gave teams hell in Champions League.
No joke.
2 seasons.
No joke. And so like to my point, this is a team that is composed of there's a lot of good players on this team. And so yes, their defense feels a little bit weak, feels a little bit unathletic to deal with what France can bring to the table. But I think there's absolutely a world where they show up and play their best game and they beat France and they can top this group. However, I'll take them for second over Senegal. So
fair. I picked Senegal to finish second. I had all 3 teams qualifying, which I think most people did, so I'm not going on a limb there. But I had Senegal finishing second in my initial pre-tournament predictions. Not that I don't think it can go a number of different ways, but it was mostly like my argument. I'll just play devil's advocate. Senegal could have been up 2-0 in the first half. They should have probably been up 2-0 in the first half. I mean, they outplayed France. Like, it's Nico Jackson and then Sarr, the winger, like missed a few big chances, and things could have been totally different. I will say, like, hopped right on that France money line at halftime, was about even money. You're like, this is like, if Senegal didn't take advantage in the first half, it's probably not happening in the second half. So I think that was like pretty predictable, but. That Senegal game against Norway, which I believe is that next? I forget if that's the next game. I'll look that up as we speak. But like that's going to be one of the more fun, I think, games of the entire group stage. But yeah, like I can't argue with you. Like with Holland, like it feels like he's just like a walking brace, like against half the teams in this field, and they're going to have some crazy firepower. Even like Nusa, who's like one of their young wingers, is really excellent. They got Sorloth obviously playing out wide. They have some dudes, and for the way that France kind of plays, where they do sleepwalk in some of these halves and like don't always really like have it all together. Who knows? Like I think Norway could certainly get a result against France, and you never know. You top that group, but I'm gonna stick with Senegal just because I had them pre-tournament, but I feel like 1, 2, 3, and this could be any number of different ways.
By the way, I'm gonna stick with my pre-tournament prediction and say that Senegal actually finished fourth. I do think that they look pretty good, at least especially the first half.
Shout out to Iraq, there we go.
I do listen. I think Iraq looked decent in that game. They were coming up against I think a very good Norway team, and Senegal, like, they look good, but like I think that
too many Everton players.
Apart.
That's what it is. Too many Everton players on that Senegal
That's
team.
pretty much it.
Something bad's gonna happen there. Yeah.
The kid that came on and scored the goal, by the way, Ndai.
Oh yeah.
He looked like a player. Again, it's a team that has talent all over the field, has talent coming off the bench. I don't see a world where they finish in fourth. Granted, again, it's basically how they do against Iraq, because I don't think that they get a result against Norway. But again, that could be a really fun game.
Yeah, for sure. It's a bit of a flyer, but I'm sticking with it.
Really quickly, any concern with France, just like of how like kind of lackadaisical they looked?
No, I just think that's France. I think that they, in their day, they can come out and just hang 8 on anybody almost in the world, and then also they can come out and pull like a Spain and go 90 minutes as opposed to just 45, playing kind of just not something was wrong in that first half. I don't know if it was tactics or personnel or what.
You know what
something
they did
was not right.
They moved Elise from, I think, right wing. They moved him kind of to the number 10 behind the striker role and put Dembele, who
changed
was in that
everything
out wide. And like Elise in that middle area, he might be the best player in the world. Like he is.
You're not. That's not even like a hot take. Like
no, it's not.
Yeah.
The funny thing, before this tournament started, Manoli, our producer, independently asked us all for our golden boot?
Golden ball. Yeah.
Golden ball.
Player of the tournament. Yeah.
Player of the tournament. And Steve, myself, and McGee all independently picked Michael Elise as our golden ball winner.
Good start.
Which I don't know if he put that out. That was an interesting pick. But yeah, I honestly, after that first game, I feel like a freaking genius over here.
Problem is with that team, like, if they win the whole thing, right, they have any number of guys in that team that could be a golden ball winner, right? Like,
true.
Whoever's kind of hot at the time.
In that first game, I mean, he was the guy. Like, he was the guy that was dictating the tempo, making things happen, finding Mbappe on the goal. So it was like in that squad of just baller after baller after baller, he was the guy. And so, yeah, I'm still pretty high on him. And I don't think it's a hot take to say he might be the best player in the world. It might be him or his teammate, Harry Kane. Though they might be the 2 best players in the world at the moment.
Yeah. And then Luis Diaz just had an assist for Colombia. Good Bayern. Just things are pointing up for Bayern these days.
Everything's coming up Bayern.
They're always pointing up for Bayern, aren't they?
Well, it was a little hairy.
See many dark
days ago. But now it's like, all right, this attack is absolutely absurd. Speaking of attacks that are absurd, the opposite of that, Spain. Let's move to Group H. Probably, I guess, like the most. Yeah, that was the most absurd result so far, I guess, of the tournament is them. Obviously dropping points there. Like Cape Verde, I didn't think they were gonna be a huge pushover. I think they were gonna get a point against Spain, not necessarily, but they do. And this is, it's one of those things where like I'm between two minds. One of my concerns about Spain, this isn't anything like groundbreaking, but like they do kind of do this thing where they'll have a ton of possession, they'll pass it around, but they won't really score. They don't like Oyarzabal at center forwards, like not really a center forward. They're kind of playing like 6 midfielders at times instead of like any actual attacking players. And I know they have injuries. I know obviously Yamal was out, Nico Williams was out, so like this is going to be a different team when it comes to like big boy time when they have to actually play somebody. So I guess my question to you, and I'll start with you, Bones, is like, are there any concerns with Spain, who, by the way, were the favorites coming into this tournament?
No, I don't. I'm not concerned at the moment. It's obviously a concerning result. I think that this is kind of the beauty of the game, where on any given day, like, look at the story of the goalkeeper, right? Like, this is an incredible story that's unfolding before our eyes. But on a day, you're just kind of lacking that quality in the box. The team is just laying it all on the line, like making huge blocks, making big saves, making big plays, and the ball's just not going in the net for you. And I mean, they almost conceded at the end, which would have been an incredibly shocking turn of events. But I'm not concerned about them going forward in the long run. It's a concerning result, and I do think that this is kind of their wake up call to say, hey, all right, like now it's time to kick into gear. If we need to kick each other in the ass a little bit, if we need to get something going, and I think they'll be fine. Like you said, they're missing a couple of their key guys in the attack that came on, as subs coming back from injury, and so I think they'll be okay going forward. I still think they win the group. I think the Uruguay and Saudi Arabia tie was crucial for that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they go on to win the group. I think they get their wake up call, but before the tournament, I was kind of worried about this like expanded field and like, oh man, like we're gonna see some dud games. And the day before, when Sweden beat the shit out of Tunisia, I was like, okay, well, this is exactly the reason why we don't need this. And then the next
Germany,
day, you get a result
Curacao.
like this, Germany,
Yeah.
yeah, and the next day you get a result like this, and you're like, all right, well, this is why we have the Power Five team in the college football playoff, because one time they're gonna beat Georgia, and it's gonna be amazing, or they're gonna, and so this is why we do that. So I thought it was a great story. It was a really exciting game to watch. But no, I'm not worried about Spain.
It's exciting in like a pitcher's duel type way.
Yeah.
Like so I have two things to say here. Number one, I'm just going to give myself a little pat on the back on Cape Verde, who I predicted was going to come in second in this group. I'm glad we're starting at the bottom of the groups, because once we get to the top, some of my long shot predictions didn't go so well. I like that we're starting at the bottom here. Cape Verde, yeah, they got lucky as hell. I mean, there were some times there where Spain, I do not know how they didn't score. Ferran Torres had a howler. I'm not worried about Spain. I think that especially once they get Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams back and guys like that, I think that they're going to be just fine. Games like this happen. I think that Cape Verde is a real opponent, which is, why I said come in, and I think this team is actually kind of serious. And in Uruguay, Saudi Arabia, in that other game, I was kind of like, woof, this is not these teams don't look like they're going to be on the level of like, obviously Spain, but I just don't think that they have it. I don't think that they have it in them to win a knockout game. I think Spain will be fine. It was just a cool result to watch, and like the keeper from Cape Verde and his whatever 400 million Twitter follows or whatever that he got in the immediate aftermath is like a great story. But at the end of the day, I think Spain is still clearly the best team in this group, and Cape Verde very well could get second off the back of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll keep this short. I'm not worried about Spain. They'll get their guys back and they'll be all right. I don't know that I'd bet them to win it, but they're going to be there in the end, and they're going to be a tough out no matter what. Okay, moving on. Group G. This is probably like the weirdest group, I guess, now. This is New Zealand, Iran, Belgium, and Egypt. Belgium drawing Egypt. Belgium was one of those teams where I wanted to fade them before the tournament, but like their draw was just seemed so easy. And then even there, once you like projected into like what the knockouts would be, you're like, man, why do I have them in like the quarterfinal again? I don't even like this team. And I guess maybe I was right. I don't really like this team. I think they, that we've been talking about the gold generation for Belgium for a while, and I like a lot of those players. Some of them, mostly the defenders, have like kind of aged out. De Bruyne obviously still there. Lukaku. I like De Ketelaere, but I just don't know that he's like a true center forward. I think Doku's going to have a breakout tournament, but I still don't really like this team. The problem is I didn't also like Egypt. I don't really like New Zealand, and I don't really like Iran. So where are we at, guys? Everybody's on 1 point. Sam, I'll start with you. I guess the question is, like, what the heck do we do with Belgium here? They're still heavy favorites. They're still minus 190 to win the group. Should they be?
No, I don't think they should be.
No?
I just don't like this. Listen, I said coming in the tournament, I don't like this Belgium team. And then I was kind of with you guys a little bit. Like when you look at their draw, and especially when you get the knockouts, Jesus, they could be in like the quarterfinals without like breaking a sweat almost. But I'm sticking with what I said. I just don't like this team. I don't think that they're going to go far. I had Egypt winning this group. I guess, I'm going to stick with that. I had Iran finishing second in this group. I'll stick with that as well. I like this group feels. New Zealand, by the way, is no pushover as well. Like Belgium has I wouldn't say it's the toughest group by any means, but just for them and their level, which I think is far below where everybody else seems to think they are. I think this group is totally up for grabs, and I think that first game really sort of substantiated my thinking in this group that it's a toss up, and Belgium just isn't that good, and I don't think they're a threat in this tournament whatsoever.
I agree that. Well, I'm putting this group up in my superlative for weakest group. I think, and I don't. The only other one that I can think of is, I mean, I don't even know. Maybe this
England's,
group K
I
that we're
think
watching now.
England's is up there for me.
Well, we'll get to it. Group B is
I don't know
soft
about
as hell,
that.
too. I feel like Switzerland, Canada, Qatar, and Bosnia.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you go.
I mean, after watching Group G, I agree with you guys. I don't think that Belgium is to the level that they were or that they expect to be. Having said that, they still have players that can make a difference at any given moment. And I think in this group, with the quality of the teams in it, that will give them, they'll finish first in the group for me. But again, similar to like in England, not as good. But when they start to get some real competition in the knockout round, they'll have to test their metal, and I don't think that they'll be able to hold up.
Yeah, I agree. They're minus 190 again to win the group. I think they'll win the group, but I don't know that I would bet that to happen. And yeah, they're
Not
just
that
not.
confident.
They used to be fun, and they're just kind of not fun anymore. That's kind of how I feel about Belgium. Like they used to be like,
Listen,
they could do something.
they got a
I'm
little
like, I don't
old.
really
They
care.
got a little old, and you know what
We
happens
all
when you
do,
get a
man.
little old?
Yeah.
You get a lot less fun.
Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
true.
yeah. What a line. When you get older, you get a little less fun. Hate to hear that, but yeah, sometimes it's the truth.
Trust me.
All right. Let's go to Group F. This one, interesting as hell. You have the Dutch, who were the favorites, playing Japan, who I think was everybody's dark horse. They draw. And then Sweden has an incredibly impressive win, even though it was over Tunisia, who, isn't terrible. They were actually a very good defensive team in qualifying, and then Sweden just blew them away. What was that, 4-0, I think. So I guess my question to you guys here, Bones, I'll start with you. Who wins this group?
That's a really good question. I think similar to Group I we were talking about, there's like three, it's really top heavy where there's three teams and there's kind of like, this Tunisia outlier that isn't going to get any points. And any one of them can win it, right? I was really impressed with Japan. Really impressed with Japan. And that's another team where you look around at the roster, look around at the starting 11, you're like, man, these guys are playing for big clubs. They're
Right,
playing in
know
big
that guy,
leagues that
know
you
that
don't
guy. Yep.
know that guy, know that guy, know that, that team's in Champions League next year. Like, they're a really good team. They're really disciplined and they're really tough to break down for me. I think that they could be a dark horse to win the group. And again, Sweden looked good against Tunisia. I don't know if they hold up. I think there's a real world where Japan and Netherlands finish 1-2 in either order. But I'll take Japan, actually. I was really impressed with them.
Yeah, so I my sort of hot take coming into this tournament was that Netherlands might win the group, but Japan is going to go further in the tournament, and I'm going to kind of stick with that. I think that Japan is. It's the thing about them is they're missing two of like their better players, Matoma and somebody else, and yet they're just plug and play. Their system is so strong and so sort of organized that they're going to give anybody trouble, as we saw in that first game against Netherlands. And they could easily win the group. Even if they don't, though, I just think they're going to be a dangerous team in this tournament. So my two big dark horses were Morocco and Japan coming into the tournament. I liked both of them to still do damage in the knockouts. And, I think I had Sweden finishing third and Tunisia finishing last. I still go with that. Tunisia just didn't, they just looked, awful. And basically they fired their coach. I mean, like literally the rot is deep there.
What are we talking about? Like we had all this time to figure out the coach, and we play the first game and now all of a sudden we're firing this guy.
I mean, if you saw some of the decisions he made, they were like Klinsmann-esque against, Costa Rica, or was it Mexico? Whatever the game, Klinsmann was like playing, defensive mids at striker and left backs at, fucking attacking midfielder. And
it can't be the first time that he's done some zany stuff, right? Like they're here.
It was
told
crazy.
Him, if you do it
though.
again, you're out. And he did it again, and now he's out.
Yeah. Listens to directions poorly.
Yeah. I've got Japan winning the group. This is mostly just a fade of Ronald Koeman. This is what we did in our preview pod. I just don't trust him, and I don't. What's weird about this too is like I don't. You would think like the Dutch thing of obviously Van Dijk, like the defense would be good, and they're not. They actually weren't good in qualifying, and they're not. They obviously gave up 2 goals against Japan. I just think they're leaky at the back, and I don't really trust their attack enough to really like think they're going to be a serious threat. So they've got some guys, but I trust the Japan team more. Sweden, I think, is a little bit of a flash in the pan. I think that's more of like who they played than like what they will be. So I still have them finishing 3rd. I think the Netherlands finishes 2nd, and yeah, like the Japanese team is probably one of the easiest teams to root for in the whole tournament. So I guess we're going to be on the Japan train here from here on out, which is good because it's a good train to be on.
I think Sweden, by the way, if we're
go ahead.
Sweden will be fun. They're going to score a lot of goals and they're going to score down.
Yeah, so they have a dangerous attack, and if they can keep teams off the score sheet, they have a chance to not do some damage, as in go very far, but they have the potential to knock someone off, to qualify and knock someone off, or on their day. Like they have enough talent. And they do seem fun. Like they have a good vibe about them that I enjoyed watching that game. So I wouldn't rule them out to do some damage, but in terms of going far, I don't think that they have the makeup.
Group E, we'll keep it moving. This was Curacao did good news. They did score a goal. Bad news is they gave up 7. So they still have the best. You know what's actually insane too, guys? We talked about this on the preview pod, Bones. Curacao has, I think, the single best kit in the entire tournament. It's that canary kind of yellow Adidas one, but apparently they're not going to wear it because just based on like the uniform matchups, they're not even, unless they make the knockouts, which they're likely not going to. We're never going to see it, which seems insane that you would have this incredible jersey and never actually be able to wear it on a field. So that's a huge L. They took a huge L obviously against Germany, and that's a huge L for them just fashion wise. So not good things for Curacao. But I guess I'll start here. My question is, did the 7-1 Germany mean anything to you, or was it just Curacao?
Was this me or Bones? This is me?
Whoever wants to. Go ahead, Sam.
That it didn't mean anything. I mean, like, it was cool. That was their moment. Honestly, that was Curaçao's moment. I don't think they're going to do anything in the tournament. I think Germany completely overlooked them and just sort of weren't even paying attention. And then they got scored on, and they're like, "Holy shit! What just happened?" And this was an aberration, and it was a cool moment, a great moment that the Curacao fans obviously should and did enjoy immensely. And I would be surprised if they have any more moments in the tournament. I think that Ivory Coast is legitimate and Ecuador is very solid, and I think that was their Super Bowl of this Super Bowl, and I think that's it for them. And Germany, I don't know really what to make of them. I wasn't very high coming into the tournament, and giving up a goal like that obviously is kind of like what's going on. But then hanging a 7th spot on pretty much anybody is impressive. So I don't know what to think about Germany. I just think that was Curaçao's moment, and congratulations to them. But I think it might be downhill from there.
I think that you and I have agreed far too much in the last 45 minutes. So I'm going to say it did mean something. I don't care who you are, who you're playing, where you are. When you're in a tournament style like this, when you show up in game 1 and you beat the brakes off of somebody, yeah, they get a little scare in the beginning. But same thing like Spain and Cape Verde in the first 10 minutes, you weren't like, all right, well, Spain's not going to win this game, right? That can't possibly happen. Well, we all thought the same thing about Germany, and they didn't let that happen. They went and they hung a 7-piece on them. They went and they took care of business, and they started this tournament saying, hey, we don't care who you are. We don't care what you do to us in the first little bit. We have enough quality. We're good enough where we will make sure that you regret ever trying to give us a scare. Like, we are good enough. And I do think they're good enough. There's nothing that tells me that they can't make a really deep run in this tournament. They have the players. They're another disciplined team. And they have a history of winning. And I think that's what else do you need to go and go on a run and win a World Cup?
I think the best thing Germany has going for them is the fact that I doubt them very strongly, and so that might power
the mush effect.
That might power them through to at least like the semifinals. But yeah, I don't know, Curacao.
Yeah, they're playing against Curacao, but
I was gonna say
again,
the Curacao versus Cape Verde. Like, I just don't think
just like,
I don't think that's the same level of competition.
is it not?
I don't think so. I think Cape Verde is a tier above
I
them.
don't think it's far off.
We'll
Like
see.
we're talking about Germany and Spain, and then we're talking about Curacao and Cape Verde. Like we're talking about two teams that I don't care, like outside of the top 65 teams in the world, right? 50 teams in the world. Like I'm taking Spain and Germany to win every single time, and I expect them to put on a performance like Germany did against Curacao.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
don't expect them to not score. And I don't. If Spain did this against, I don't know, Italy, team that didn't qualify.
I know.
That's a horrible example. But
I'm wearing
if Spain,
this is my Daniela De Rossi jersey. We just, somehow we have
awesome.
to we just have to give them some hope here. But even though there is none with the Italians these days. But yeah,
Poland. If Spain did this against Poland, you'd be like, yeah, that's a shocker. They did it against Cape Verde.
I'm a Germany hater, so like I'm probably biased in this. I just don't really like Verts I like, but like it's like, okay, he had a tough year at Liverpool. Like, can he put it all together? Obviously, he looked good there. Musiala is back from the injury, so he looks back again. I don't love Kai Havertz at 9. I still don't love their midfield as much. Their defense, I don't think, is as good as a typical Bayern defense. And Neuer, while he's still Neuer, is 40 years old. So like, they were a team that I was fading before the tournament, so I guess it's easy for me to be like, oh, this doesn't mean anything. Yeah, putting 7 past somebody obviously means something, so it'd be dumb for me to say it doesn't. But I just don't know that, like, I'm not going to pick them against France, like if they match up in the round of 16, which would, if both these teams win their groups, would be the outcome. So I kind of feel the same about Germany. Like I think the bigger story in this group for me is I wish I had the balls to take the Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, because like I want everyone who played FIFA 10 knew like that was the team to use. They're awesome. They're back in the World Cup. They've got some real dudes on this roster, and I was just so nervous about this Ecuador team because Ecuador is such a good defense and obviously was really great in South American qualifying. And that win, losing that game is actually making things interesting for Ecuador because now they play Curacao. This is a team that doesn't score a lot of goals. They might have to put a few past Curacao, because then they finish obviously with Germany, and if they lose that, they're going to be on 3 points, so it'll probably come down to goal differential. So Ecuador kind of put themselves in a little bit of a pickle here with even just like advancing with that late loss to the Ivory Coast.
Yeah,
I think Ecuador came in as a dark horse for a lot of people. For me, watching that game, I actually wasn't very impressed with them. I thought they had an opportunity to come out and say, yeah, we are that dark horse that everyone thinks that we are. We are that team that can go in and do some damage here. And I thought that they kind of, they laid an egg a little bit, I think, in that regard. So I was a little bit disappointed. Again, I didn't watch a ton of South American qualifying. I watched them in a couple friendlies, but I expected them to be a team that came out and said, yeah, we're here to, like, we're going to go try and win this group. We're going to take Germany to the edge. And for the first game, and it's only one game, I thought they kind of laid an egg.
They just don't score goals, man. That's
problem. What I said coming in. That's why I wasn't high. I don't see where the goals are coming from, and that game certainly didn't change my mind on that.
Yeah. So, but shouts to the Ivory Coast, man. Great uniforms. Good to be back. And they have some firepower. Like they're going to be a weird team if you have to play them in the knockouts. It's not going to be super fun. All right, let's move it on here. Group D. We've been waiting almost an hour to talk about this. Our group, guys. We'll obviously spend a little bit more time on this because this is the U.S. Bone, just give us, I guess, your first impression of the 4-1, because I think, we kind of previewed it on the show, and we were a little bit we were confidently nervous, but like it's like, hey, like we like the lineup, and when the lineup came out, I was like, hey, this is exactly what I want to see. It's attacking, it's not passive, and God, it wasn't passive at all in some of the movement, and obviously Balogun looked incredible, Pulisic looked incredible, and 4-1 against a team in Paraguay that again was another good defensive team in South American qualifying. So your thoughts on obviously that win initially?
I think it's a night where everything goes right? And it's not to take away from it at all, because it's one of the best performances at a major tournament that I've ever watched from a U.S. team. And it's not just in terms of the result, it's in terms of what it looked like. Everything was smooth. Pulisic did whatever he wanted. He had the entire free reign. That right back, by the way, felt pretty poor, but
not great.
I mean, he could do whatever he wanted. Weston was sharp. I thought Tillman was awesome on the day. Balogun obviously hitting the back of the net. He looked clean. He looked strong. It just felt like everything went right in a sense where the possession looked great. Everything. I mean, these guys are like, they made it look like a training session, right? And I don't know the last time that we did something like that at a major competition. Again, I don't care where you're playing. And I think Paraguay has some dangerous players. They're a team that you can't just walk all over. And we had played them in a friendly, and it got physical and it got tense. And we showed up game one of the World Cup on home soil and we rolled them over. I mean, there was no question about it. And so for me, it was one of the best performances I've seen at a major tournament. It sent shockwaves of excitement throughout me, throughout the people that I spoke with about the game. And I think there's real optimism about this team, not just in the group, but going forward beyond that. It's one of,
So
in terms of all the performances in the group stage, it's one of the best performances of the group stage so far for me.
yeah, so that's my question to you then: is have your expectations changed for us?
No, I had high expectations for the group as it is, and I don't even really know what those expectations are or what they were. But the way that it looked in game one, there's maybe a few teams that I would say, yeah, I don't think we can beat them even if it's our best day. Like maybe a handful for me after watching that game. And I think that the problem now for them is they've set a standard of, hey, look what we can do. I know you haven't seen this from us yet, but this is what we can do. And this is how it can look and how exciting and fun it can be. And now for the next however many games they're in the tournament still, we're expecting it to look like that.
The bar has been raised. It's true. And that's why I think this Australia game is kind of scary, because not because of the fact that Australia beat Turkey in the first game. Because if you watch the game, Turkey was far and away the better team. And I don't know how
That's
they
the trouble
lost
with
that.
them too. That's the trouble.
I
with
don't
them.
know how they lost that game, especially not scoring a goal, losing 2-0. Like Australia is a dangerous opponent. And I've seen all these clips on social media about, Americans sort of looking down their nose at Australia and sort of like saying they're just not that good. They're a decent team. We're way better. We are way better than them, and we should win this game. So if you just clip that, it's going to come out as all
Yeah.
those other
All
podcasts
takes exposed. Let's do
of
it.
us
Yeah.
basically talking down at
No,
them.
you're right. You're
We're
right.
just
Like
better than them. We are, and this game
man
proved
for
it.
man, you go like, how many guys do we have? Like it's
Right.
it's
They're a dangerous
above half.
opponent. They got some guys, the Aaron Kunga guy that scored their first goal. That guy is electric. And he's also got the kind of the profile of a player who could give us some real problems if he gets some space on a counterattack. That is the absolute nightmare for our back line. But like I think that we are just better than them. And the fact that Turkey lost that game, it doesn't really change much in terms of my expectations for the U.S., my expectations for the group. It throws everything for a loop a little bit. I don't think Paraguay is a bad team. I think that they're easily, that's going too far. But I do think that Paraguay is probably the third best team in the group. I think Pochettino deserves, now that I've thought about it longer, in the immediate aftermath, I was just like, holy shit, everybody played well, blah, 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 blah. If you break down the game, I've watched it about 4 times now. Pochettino's game plan was incredible. He just overwhelmed Paraguay. They did not see it coming. He basically had our guys just sucker punch them, and they could not and did not react and respond. They didn't know what to do. And we just overwhelmed them for 90 straight minutes, which, as Bono said, is one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen from a U.S. Team in a major tournament. But like, I think that Paraguay will actually bounce back from that and will probably give Turkey trouble in the second game. I'm nervous about the Australia game just because I'm nervous about every U.S. game at a major tournament. I think that we are a much better team than Australia. I think the fact they beat Turkey, hopefully they got just like a little bit of like shit don't stink, or my shit don't stink sort of from that game. Because if they get any kind of overconfidence, we're going to do the same exact thing we just did to Paraguay and overwhelm them. Because I just think we're better at almost every position on the field.
Yeah, I am too nervous about this game, just because like as a U.S. fan, what's the stat? Like we basically haven't won 2 straight group games since like 1930. right?
Yeah.
Is that that's the stat? Which is, I mean, it sounds kind of insane, but it's like, yeah, all right. Usually we're in a group with like a team that's better than us, and then it's like kind of a scrap for the two other teams. So like, it's not that insane, but still, all right. This would be the first time in almost 100 years that we could accomplish that. Like, no pressure. But I guess like I also think like there's faction probably now of people who tune in and watch the 4-1 are like, hey, we're sick, like we should just win every game 4-1 now, especially against a team that we're better than. And that's just not how the World Cup works. Like you're not just gonna like you're not just gonna like run over all these opponents. Like this could very easily be like a 2-1, a 1-0. Like it could be a win, but still like not as sexy as the first one, which again you would take. And I always think that like, maybe that's even better. Like win kind of a closer game, a tight game, because Australia's the type of team that's not going to beat themselves. They played together. They're organized. I mean, remember like 4 years ago they made it out of the group and they gave I think Argentina basically all they could handle in the knockout round. Like this is not a pushover team, despite like us saying that they're not like the most talented team that we might face. The irony here is that like I think the two most talented guys in the entire group might be the two guys on Turkey, Guler and Yildiz, who just kind of no-showed a little bit in that game against Australia. So I'm nervous. It's kind of like the first game against Paraguay. I'm confidently nervous. Is probably the best way to put it. I think again, a point gets us through. We're probably already through anyway. Like knock on wood, who knows? But like I'm just kind of waiting for something bad to happen because that's usually what happens to U.S. fans.
Basically,
I don't. I hope that people. Impossible to say, but I hope that people aren't scarred by the way the U.S. teams have been in the past. Like I genuinely, I think that this team it has the ability to be different than that. Man, we have all this hype now. We win this game. We win this. It's this great spectacle, and then we have a letdown, or we get rolled over by a team that's better than us. And obviously, like we established, Australia is not. Um, but the scars of the past will tell you we're due for a letdown because we're on this big high. And I think that the talent on this team, like these guys, the core of this team have been playing together on the national team for a decade now, right? Like these guys were all came up through the U system together. They've known each other for like a long time, and this team is close. This team is tight. There is, oh wow, yeah, it's on. Well, this team is tight knit, and I do think they have the ability. They have the talent, and tactically, I think that Pochettino can get them playing in a way where we don't have to think about the scars of the past saying, yeah, we're due for a letdown here. Like, got to be cautious about this. I think for me, and maybe I will have to eat my words on this, I am going to be full speed ahead and I'm going to say, fuck, this team is exciting. This team is talented. And why can't we just beat anyone in our way for the foreseeable few games?
Bones is all potch, no breaks. I love that.
I'm in. I was watching the game with one of my teammates and I said, listen, like it's kind of weird for us because we play with or against some of these guys, like we compete with some of these guys, and now you're watching it's a World Cup. Like this is the event in the world of sports in general, and so I'm putting this aside now of like this competitiveness of like, yeah, well, I play against these guys, I've been in the locker room with some of these guys, and I'm going to be a fan. And that first 90 minutes, I'm fully bought in. I'm a sucker. I'm in.
Love it.
I'm in. I laid in bed after the game and I scrolled and I almost bought one of those denim 94 jerseys. I'm not kidding. It was as good as I had felt about a US men's national team in a World Cup. It's the proudest I felt since Tim Howard's Belgium game.
Yeah. Well, you should.
I'll say that.
We should have and again, that's
16
what we,
years ago.
That's GKU talking right there.
Yeah, that's what we needed too. Like the first game to like build excitement for the rest of the nation that are like they want to get behind this team, but they're like not really sure. And then for them to put on that show was the ultimate like, oh, we're here to actually like do some stuff and to, like potentially make a run here. Let me ask you this, Bones: do you roll the same 11 out there against Australia?
Yeah.
You just roll it back.
I do. Yeah.
As long as Pulisic is healthy.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
For me, you take no risk, not much risk in him. Like if he has to go another 45 again, and then you can bring someone off the bench. Like we got some dudes on the bench. We got some dudes that can come on and make a difference. So I think as long as he's good to go, you start him. You try and manage him in a way where you're getting enough out of him to make sure he's good to go for the future, but you're also not overworking him because again, like you have a little bit of extra time in between games with the expanded field, but it's still a dense tournament. It's still a lot of minutes for these guys, and it's high competition, high stress all the time. And so you don't want to overwork him. But for me, you roll out the same 11. I thought the back line played well. Um, no notes on that for a team that wasn't really that dangerous on the day.
We got
Yeah,
to ask you too. Obviously, as a keeper and a guy who has played with Matt Turner, what is your the defense has been oddly enough just off of history of us having good back lines and good goalkeeping has been the biggest question. Like, what do you see from Matt Freese? Like, how do you think that dynamic is? And are you as worried as maybe some of the experts would say is that being like our Achilles heel?
I know both of them really well. Obviously, I worked with Matt last year in New England. And I thought I worked with Matt Turner last year in New England. I always catch myself. I'd say their last names because they have the same first names.
Double Matt. Yep.
I think he's been, in terms of MLS so far this year, he's been the best goalkeeper in the league. I thought he's started the season extremely strong for a team that's gotten a lot of results in New England that maybe probably shouldn't have as many points as they do. And for me, I think Matt Freese, his body of work with the national team since he's gotten his opportunity, is the reason why he's in there now. Pochettino believes in him, and he's proved to Pochettino and the staff that he can do it at the level. And I think that for that reason, he's not playing he's not playing him if he hasn't earned the trust of the guys in front of him. That's just a fact. Because he'd go to the guy with more experience if that wasn't the case. And so for me, Freeze has earned the respect of the guys in front of him. The guys trust him. The staff trusts him. And he took the job when Matt was in a lull in Europe, and he's held on to it. And for me, putting myself in the same situation, and I'd be willing to bet I'll never speak for him, but I'd be willing to bet that Turner would say the same thing because that's the reason, that's the way he got his spot in the first place, right? Stefan was down. We had this big question of who's going to be the guy. He's emerging as this guy, and he's earned his place in the roster. And for me, Freeze has done that. And so I think good on Pochettino for keeping that consistent and giving Freeze his opportunity.
That's really good stuff.
Was that political enough?
No, yeah, I think that was
very diplomatic.
They're both friends. They're both friends of mine. And so, like, honestly, I hope the best for both of them. I'm really happy for Freeze. Like, I remember Freeze when he first came into the league in Philadelphia, and like, just this rosy cheeks kid, and you're like, oh my god, this kid is. And now look at him. I'm obviously really proud of him and honored that I get to call him a friend. So, and Matt's been great too. I've known Matt. We came into the league the same year or the year after. He came in the year after me, and so we've known each other for again 11, 12 years now. So I'm really happy for both of them. They're both great goalkeepers, and I don't think it's the Achilles heel that some of the media might make it out to be.
Yeah, I agree. GQ sucks, but I'm on board with that take. Nice. And they're both actually good friends of the program, with the Sam fam as well. So shout out both Matts.
Yeah, man. All right. So do we dare do predictions really quick
for the U.S. Australia game specifically?
What do you think?
I think we roll them. I think that we're just
roll. Okay.
Like 2-0, 3-0. Some of their attacking players do scare me. They got that pace that might give some of our defenders trouble. So saying this is definitely flirting with danger. I feel like because as Bone said, like it just feels like anytime we've gotten so high on our horse, we always get chopped down. But like this team is just they're better. They're better than Australia, and I do think that we should win this game 2 or 3-0.
I'm gonna go 2-1, but it feels like we're in control the entire time. And it's gonna be one of those games where we're sitting on our couches or we're sitting at the bar. Not me. I'm in training. Sam, for sure. We're sitting at the bar, we're sitting on our couches, and it's like 2-1, and we're like, how is this game 2-1? And then like 85th, it's like Australia gets a big chance, and we're like, oh my God. And they don't score. We win 2-1. We're in control the whole game. But Australia, like, they give us a little bit of a scare at the end, and we make it out 2-1.
There was a moment in the Paraguay game when we were up 3-1.
Definitely was.
And
Definitely
they
was.
had a gilt edged chance right in front, and they could have been a 3-2
Yes,
game, and I would have started shit in my pants.
Oh yeah,
And
I
for
remember
thankfully,
sure.
being
that's
like, "Is
not the
this
way it
really
went.
gonna happen? Like, is this we're
Yeah,
really gonna let them back in this game?" And then Gio just,
It crossed my mind.
obviously puts it away.
yeah.
I'm with you too. I'm with you, Bones. 2-1. I think it's gonna be a nail biter. I think it's gonna be. I just don't think these games are all gonna be easy. Like this is just
They're
we've
not.
seen bigger teams struggle with lesser teams, and I think I'd like to think that we've turned a leaf and we're confident and coming off that obviously the 4-1 win we're feeling good, but they're not all going to be blowouts. So 2-1 to me feels safe, and listen, I snatch your hands off for that today, 6 points, and then we can kind of move on and see what happens with the Turkey game in the last game of the group stage.
Australia doesn't suck. Let me just say that they don't. This is a good team. Even though I'm talking down to them, they're good. I really do think that.
Yeah.
Shout out.
I do
Haley.
think we control it though. I don't think the game feels as close as it will actually
Yeah.
be come final
Yes.
We'll
whistle.
give up like a dumb goal. We'll be, how do how are we here? How
Yeah,
are we in this spot? And it's
That's
we're
the
up
way they
2-0.
play too. We're going to control the game. Like, but
Yeah.
they're going to be sort of low block, and they're going to hit us on the counter, and hopefully we deal with it. Aaron Kunde, that guy his pace is going to be scary. I'm gonna be scared every time he gets the ball, 100%.
You'd also have to think that Australia probably doesn't leave their left back on an island the way that Paraguay did. So
Right back.
they probably watched some right back. Yeah, they probably watched some tape
Oh,
and are
God.
like, all right, maybe we don't do that this time around. Probably would be smart.
Pochettino's
All right,
he'll have something. Pochettino's going to have a twist for him. In Poch, I 100% trust. Absolute man rocket, big soccer brain. He's got something cooking. I fucking love that guy.
All right, 3 groups left here. We could roll through these. Group C. This is the 2 powerhouse teams in this group, Brazil, Morocco. They drew, so they're on 1 point. My question here, and then Scotland, I guess, gets a big win over Haiti, so Scotland technically tops the group, and we'll get to Scotland a little bit when we talk about the fans. But Sam, I'll start with you because you are Mr. Morocco. You still like them as a dark horse. I was Mr. Brazil. I kind of zagged a little bit. I picked them to win it, even though I'd admit if you simulated this thing 10,000 times, Spain or France are probably going to win it. But I like the Carlo Ancelotti effect. I think their defense is going to be solid. So I guess my question for this group is, are you worried about Brazil, or is Morocco just Morocco and they're good, and a draw is probably a fair result?
Yeah, that game went about how I would have expected it. I think that Morocco and Brazil are the class of the group, and at the end of the day, they're gonna decide who wins the group based on the other results. And that's how it played out. I will say, for a moment when Morocco scored first, I was kind of like, "Ooh boy, here we go. Maybe Morocco's gonna take a step above Brazil." But Brazil's good. They are very good. It was a fun game to watch. I was a little surprised actually that they didn't get any goals in the second half. After the 2 kind of early-ish goals, I really thought that there were going to be more goals, and that's also my pocketbook talking. Took an absolute pounding when no more goals went in. But Morocco, I'm nothing has changed in my mind about this group. It is the vibes group. Like, every team in this group is awesome, like their fan base. On the field, I was actually as cool as sort of as high as Scotland's stock has risen from like a fan base perspective. I was actually really disappointed in what I saw from them on the field in the game against Haiti. I just thought that they looked so sort of fun and dynamic in World Cup qualifying, and then in that game they didn't really bring nearly as much sort of attacking firepower as I was sort of hoping or expecting. Maybe that's a credit to Haiti. I don't know. I guess we'll see sort of as the group plays out. But I still think it's Morocco and Brazil up top. Scotland, I think, is the 3rd best team. They'll hopefully skate through. Lucky loser, because their fans are incredible. They drank Boston out of beer, which is, I didn't know if that was possible. So nothing has changed for me. Morocco is still, I think Morocco is going to win the group. I think Morocco is a dangerous team in this tournament. I think Brazil is actually also a dangerous team in this tournament, and we'll see going forward. I like both teams though.
You were entertained by that Morocco Brazil game. You thought it was fun to watch.
No, I was entertained for the first 25 minutes or so, and I was like, this is going to be a good game. We're going to see some goals. I'm going to get rich. And really
Right.
none
When
of that
Vinny
happened. After
scored,
the
it was
20.
like, okay, this could be on, and then it just kind of
Right.
Yeah, I thought okay, game on. This is what I laddered the game up to over 6.5 for the record.
Brazil didn't do much. Like that would be my concern. They didn't, and again,
Yeah.
Morocco, good defense. Like they're a really solid team. And if I'm gonna sit here and nitpick, it's like, hey, yeah, like I think Brazil has a good defense, and I still have questions about the attack, but they kind of didn't do anything for a lot. It felt like a lot of that game, other than just like a Vinny moment of magic. So that would be my. I'm not gonna panic, mostly because I'm not gonna bail off of my winner pick after one game. But I would be lying to you if I said that was like a promising performance.
For me, I thought that this would be like the game of the first round of matches, and I was so excited for this game. I sat down and I cracked open a beer. I said, I was so excited to watch this game,
Let's lock in. Yep.
and let's lock into this and like watch some of the best football that we're going to see at the tournament. And final whistle comes. I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed after I watched 90 minutes of that game. It's like, you're right. Like Vinny scores, like, all right, this game could be awesome. And I thought at least, like, I don't care about a low scoring draw. I'm a purist. Like, I'm here for the game. I'm not, low scoring draw is fine. But that low scoring draw better be exciting or else I'm going to be pissed off. And at the end of that game, I was pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to get that 90 minutes back, and we're not going to see like this good of a matchup consistently until deeper into the knockout round. And I was a little bit disappointed. And so I don't know if that's like we know that we should finish 1-2 in the group, and we're just going to kind of feel out this first one and see how the rest of the games go. But I wasn't really encouraged by either of them, although I know that on their day they can play any team in the entire tournament off the field. So take that for what you will.
That's what I felt like. I felt like this is one of the. I bet the draw. I'm throwing out a lot of winners here. I certainly had a lot of losers too. So I'm not just picking winners every single game here. But I bet this draw because I was like, I think both these teams are just going to be like scared to lose, and they don't want to lose because they don't want to lose the group in the first game. So the draw to me was not a surprising result at all. My thought though would be, I think the reason I picked Brazil to win was not because I think they're necessarily the most talented team. I think there have been certainly more talented Brazilian teams, but it was just like the Ancelotti effect. I thought he was going to turn Brazil into Real Madrid, which is like this team that in a knockout tournament is just a pain in the ass to play against. They're going to not give up a ton of goals. They're going to score one on the counter, and they're going to beat you by a goal here and there. And somehow it's like, hey, all of a sudden we didn't think Real Madrid were going to win it, but they won the Champions League again. That's kind of what I thought he was going to turn this team into. So if I'm looking at this glass half full, I'm like, hey, this is actually exactly how they probably should be playing. They didn't take too many risks. They didn't put themselves in a lot of danger. Was it exciting? No, but they ended with a draw, and everything is still to play for. And so I guess if I'm still holding out hope for Brazil, that would be it. Is that like this is the Ancelotti turning Brazil into Real Madrid?
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like I don't think it changed anything in my mind. I think Brazil is still dangerous, but as Bone said, like I was disappointed when that game started, not just because I was dirt poor. It was a tough last 60 minutes or 70-minute watch. It was tough. There'll be better games. There will be better games, probably involving those two teams. By the way,
yeah,
I think they're feeling each other up.
Scotland
right,
is Scotland going to advance? Are they going to go through?
I hope so.
Well, they probably have to get a point, right? Because so they only beat Haiti by what one,
yeah.
Right? And you'd have to imagine that, Brazil or Morocco, like, if they lose both of those games, the goal differential is probably not going to be in their favor. So they probably have to get a point.
Yeah.
Possibly. I think that if they keep both the games close and don't win them, lose them both, as long as they keep them close, I think they still have a shot to move through.
Advancing with a negative goal differential. Man, that's the 2026 World Cup.
Listen, man, 48 teams.
Yep.
Sad.
But yeah, no, the Scots. Listen, the Fighting Scott McTominays. We will. I'll always have their back, no matter what. Group B. Let's get into some of our other CONCACAF brethren. This group is. You were talking about the kind of the worst groups before. I think this is the worst groups. Yeah, this is so Canada, Qatar, Bosnia, Switzerland. Switzerland, like if it wasn't for Spain and Portugal, maybe arguably the most disappointing result of the tournament with that late draw against Qatar, who might be the worst team in the entire tournament. And then Canada kind of looked really, really lackluster for a lot of that game against Bosnia. I think Bosnia is actually kind of underrated, but they end up getting a point out of that. My question here, guys, is how much does this group suck? Sam, I'll start with you.
A lot, honestly, a lot. I think that Canada, that was a tough start. They just looked like they sort of were sleepwalking for the first, I don't know, 65, 70 minutes. I think they're better than that. I do think they'll get out of the group. I don't think they're that, I don't think they're that bad, but that performance was pretty bad, especially in a home, World Cup first game. Like, I can't believe how sort of, I don't know, just sort of soft, or not soft, but just sort of the way they came out, and just they had no fire at all, especially with the Jesse Marsh coach team. I was like, so my expectations were
Jesse Marsh
high
is too
for
concerned
them.
with the U.S. men's national team. That's why he's still talking about it.
He's still talking about his ex. He's still talking about
Yeah.
his ex.
Like, all right, we get it,
and
dude. We don't sing the national anthem loud enough. Calm down.
Focus on what's in front of you. Yeah, it was just a very disappointing sort of initial start to the tournament and to the game. I think they'll be fine. Qatar, they'll beat them, and so with 4 points, I just think they'll get through. I just don't think anybody in this group is a contender. Switzerland, the fact that they could only put up one on Qatar and then also allowed them to score that sort of kind of a sucker punch at the end of the game. Switzerland just doesn't scare me at all. And Canada and Bosnia and Herzegovina are kind of, that maybe they'll make a knockout and they're just going to lose first round. None of these, kind of like the other groups or some of the groups, at least the last group with England, I just don't see any actually dangerous teams in this group, period.
Canada is near and dear to my heart, as Sam knows.
True.
Played there. I was there for 8 years. Lived there for 8 years. My fiance is Canadian. She still lives in Toronto to this day. And so and I know I played with a lot of the
Careful.
guys in that team. I know a lot of the guys in that team. And so I I watched the game and I thought to myself, it's a game, even as poor as they were in the final third, they still had the opportunities to win the game. Like, Richie has been cleared off the line. There's some big blocks. Like, that Bosnia team was defending for their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And they were Canada was chasing the game for a while. They had far better possession, way more opportunities on goal. And I think at the end of the day, kind of like the Spain, where it's like, there's a way that Canada wins that game 3-0. And we're like, oh, is Canada a team that could do some damage here? Could scare some teams a little bit for me. And I think the opportunities were there for them to do that. I think for me, Canada's a bit naive defensively. Um, the one center back, De Fougerolles, is a young guy, 19 or 20 years old. And Derek Cornelius has been all around the world playing. And their goalkeeper situation, again, I know both those guys, they're both good friends of mine. They're kind of in the same situation of like, who do we play? Who do we not play? And for me, that the goal that they gave up was one where, Max is kind of going to the front post and he's kind of a little bit in no man's land. It's a naive goal for them to concede. If they win that game 1-0, they say, well, we got away with one. We could have won it 3-0, but at least we got our shutout. We won 1-0, 3 points on the board, home World Cup. And so I think that there's a lot more to be seen from Canada. We've seen them play CONCACAF games where we're like, okay, well, this is the team that is causing problems for the best teams in CONCACAF. They have top level talent. They have players that can change the game. It's just a question for them of putting it all together. And so they didn't do that in game one. I do think there's a way they do that in both of their final two games. And we say, yeah, the Bosnia result, maybe a little bit of nerves on home soil, maybe a little bit of slow start, maybe a little bit of naivety in defense. But now they're kind of on the path, and we'll see what they do in the knockout round. But the other teams in the group don't even really give me, like, at least I saw something out of Canada when they had the better possession. They're kind of attacking goal. They're getting shots on target, big chances. I didn't even see that from the other team, from the other teams in the group. And so from that perspective, I guess I'll walk back my take already of the weakest group. It very well could be the weakest group. And I do still think that it's Canada's group to win.
I still think it's Switzerland's group to win. because if you told me to pick who I'd pick tomorrow, Canada, Switzerland, I'm still picking Switzerland, even with the disappointing result. I think they could win both of the games remaining and probably still top the group with 7 points. But like again, not a great result the first one. I'm with you. I'm a little worried about Canada. I don't know. The defense is kind of weird, and they got a lot of attackers. Jonathan David did not have a good year at Juventus at all. Obviously, Alphonso Davies' his health is in his injuries. We don't really know how healthy he'll be for the tournament and in general. So there's just too many questions for me with Canada. Whereas like Switzerland, like they might be boring, but I still think I could see easily 1-0 their way to 2 wins, and they're going to be fine. But not a great result against Qatar, certainly for the first one.
I think the big game that I think will tell us a lot about where this group is headed is tomorrow when Canada plays Qatar. If they come out and sort of hang a number on them, which they absolutely could.
They could, yeah.
Then I think that'll tell us about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's close it out. We went from our rivals to the north to our rivals to the south. This group has I don't think this group is bad by any means. I think South Africa I think we could say is the worst team in this group. We'll see. Czechia plays, but like the top of this group is likely going to be decided. If you're listening to this pod, it's coming out on a Thursday. I think this game is Thursday night. Mexico versus South Korea. Mexico looks good, but again, it didn't seem like they were really tested against South Africa. And South Korea, they had. It was just a 1-goal win, but they were impressive. I think against Czechia, who are a pretty well organized team. So my question for you, I'll start with you, Bones. Who's better, Mexico or South Korea? Who are you picking to win the group?
I think if this game is anywhere else in the world, if this World Cup is not in North America, I take Korea. I think because it's here, because they're playing at home, I'm going to take Mexico. I do think that, the scenes at Azteca, oh my God, like that it has to be one of the best stadiums in all of world football. Like I've played there. I've been there a couple times.
What makes it so great? What about it then? What is so different?
Like when you're on the bus driving to that stadium and you see there's all these hand painted murals of all the acts and fights and stars, Maradona painted on this big cement wall all the way in. And then you get there and you walk down the tunnel and there's plaques of every single game that's ever been played in Azteca. And then you walk out in the stadium and you can't breathe because you're so high up in the air. Right? Your elevation is so high, and you look around and it's this old cement stadium, and there's seats for as high as you can see. And when I played there, it wasn't packed to the brim, but I can guarantee you, it was in their first game. It is the coolest atmosphere that I've ever seen in person. Not that I'm that well traveled, but it is really, really, really awesome. If it's anywhere else, I think that Korea have a chance because it's in Mexico. I think task. Mexico win.
Yeah. And these two, by the way, we'll get to this in a second, they're drinking buddies now. So, like, who knows? This could be just one giant party no matter who wins or loses.
It will be. Mexico. It will be. Their fan bases seem like they are. They've become.
I don't know. If Mexico loses, I'm not sure
that's
party
right. You don't want to be around.
Is very fun.
Yeah, that's a good
fun party to be at.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, like when Quinones scores like the first just the goal to open the World Cup at the Azteca. Like, man, there probably aren't many better feelings that anyone could have in life than scoring that goal in that place for that team.
He's a problem, by the way.
He's good.
He is a really good player. Is he top scorer in the Saudi League? Do with that what you will, but for me, he should be somewhere at a big club.
I kind of forgot about him. Yeah, like I just was like, oh yeah, like he's an issue, and you just don't.
He's not old.
Week in and week out. Yeah.
It's just a weird move. He went to the Saudi League from Mexico, and you're like,
getting that monies. Go get that monies, boy.
I'll never, talk bad about someone chasing a bag. But good for you. But I think he's a really, really good player.
I got some thoughts on this group. Mexico did not impress me at all. I'm sounding like such a goddamn homer on this podcast.
Such a hater. Such a hater.
It's all right. We need
such a homer. Multiple homer takes here.
5 minutes. Yeah.
Mexico did not impress me even a little bit. I will eat some crow here. I said South Africa was, as a hot take, I had South Africa finishing second in that group. Holy shit, they were bad. That was... Yep. In terms of the power rankings, I got South Africa below Curacao, below everybody. They were the 48th best team in this tournament just based on that game alone. I do think that, we'll give them some grace and maybe they bounce back. but it's tough to play in Azteca, as Bones just sort of alluded or explained why. And playing the home team on home soil initially is just a tough situation. And Mexico got their revenge for 2010 or whenever it was, but South Africa looked awful, absolutely god awful. And Mexico in that game did not impress me at all. Like they did not look like good against a team that looked like they were just absolutely running around with cement in their shoes. Like they looked so slow and slow. They had no idea what they were doing out there. Mexico didn't look that much better. It was not an impressive performance. So yeah, they got 3 points. I just think there's nothing we can really judge about Mexico from that game because South Africa just laid a complete egg. Obviously, the red cards changed everything in the game as well. Not that South Africa was going to get something from that game, but it was just a terrible game. The first 45 of South Korea and Czechia were almost as bad, by the way. The whole group was, for the first 90 plus 45, do the math, 135 minutes of that group was just absolutely terrible. I'm sorry to everybody, all the casual fans who turned up thinking that was going to be like a fun watch. It was not. It was absolutely terrible. I'm not giving Mexico much credit at all for that win. I think South Korea looked like the best team in the group. So I do think that game is going to be very interesting between South Korea and Mexico.
I think it's going to be fun. I think there's going to be goals in that game. I think there's going to be mistakes. Like I think I don't think the Koreans are going to be afraid to go in there. I think they're just going to do their play their way, and they've obviously got some talented guys. I think that could be a bit of a goal fest if we're actually say maybe take the over 2.5 there or something.
2.5. Let's go 4.5. Let's get freaky.
Let's get weird. Yeah, let's get listen, you want to make some cash? Let's go. Why not?
I talked up Azteca so much and then realized that this game's not even at Azteca. I said it's in Guadalajara, so it's still in Mexico. It's not as high, it's not as high in elevation, but I do think it's gonna be a really fun game, and I am looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I hope Korea's a fun team. I hope that they win. I just think that Mexico is going to have a little bit of home magic, maybe some home cooking.
That's the biggest home court or home field like in the tournament, really. Like love the United States, but like especially in LA, if that game was in Kansas City or Columbus or wherever, like it might be a different
Minneapolis.
Story.
There's
a lot of executive
Columbus.
seats at the a lot of executive seats at the at SoFi. I don't know how loud it's going to get in there necessarily, but
the Los Angeles Stadium.
Excuse me. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, do you
no
see
sponsors.
Somebody was saying like how funny it was that like I think it was that all these stadiums, like a lot of them have like the name of the stadium on the seat. So somebody had to like in 60,000 little pieces of tape over every single thing, and you're like, man, like that guy doesn't get paid enough. I can promise you that. Like
somebody went around and put tape over all like the ketchup, the Heinz ketchup.
Dude,
all the little
I saw that
canisters.
Too.
It's just nuts.
They're shameless, man. They really are. It is. God, we could do another 90 minutes on that, but we don't have to. We won't bore you with that. No problem. All right, we have made it through the group stage. Let's finish up with this quickly, guys, because we're again 90 minutes in. Bones, thanks for joining us here and indulging us. But we want to end it. I think every single show, at least throughout the group stage, and then going forward, with our I was gonna call it the foreign fan power rankings. Sam thought that was a little bit too risque, but I think it's fine. Yes, the foreign fan power rankings.
It sounds slightly xenophobic, but you know what?
It's not though. It's not. Like we welcome the foreigners. We're happy that they're here. We're excited. This is nothing.
It's better than illegal alien power rankings. I guess,
that would be a little aggressive. We probably if we wanted like to make some waves on social media, maybe we call it that. But we're not doing that. Okay, we're just the foreign fan power rankings. And listen, we're happy about people drinking in the United States. We got German dudes taking tours of the South. We've got the Koreans and the Mexicans hanging out with each other. We got, as you mentioned, the Scots have basically like drank Boston dry. So I'm gonna give you, I think my top 5, and you guys kind of critique and you can add or subtract and based on what you think. But let me give you my top 5. Scotland, the Scots are obviously number 1. Like everyone's playing for tough. Second. Like they took over Fenway Park. They're like marching with bagpipes by the hundreds through the streets of Boston. They've drank basically ungodly amounts of beer while they're in that city. I've got buddies in Boston where it's like the Scots are just everywhere. They've basically taken over. I've had people that have said like we should just call New England like New Scotland now because that's just like that's what it is. And I'm on board. So they're number 1, I think, and it's not even really close. So unless there's an argument there, I'll keep moving.
Not for me.
No, I'm with you. They've showed up and they showed out. I will say they benefited from the fact that Ireland didn't make it. Because if Ireland was here, we'd have
Right.
Scotland and Ireland probably doing the same sort of thing, just slightly different
It'd be a big
accents.
fight.
And it would
fight.
be 1 and 2 or 1A and 1B. So
the World Cup can only handle one of Scotland and Ireland. You know, it's just for everyone, for the good of everyone around, and for the amount of alcohol, it's probably good. All right, number 2. This is a tie. We just talked about it. The Koreans and the Mexicans becoming friends and just being drinking buddies is the coolest thing that's happened so far. Maybe this World Cup, between just like cultures uniting. That was awesome. I hope we see it in the stands at Guadalajara. Like, you know, I think you're probably right. If the Mexicans lose, it's not going to be as fun. If the Koreans lose, I feel like they would be gracious losers and still probably have a good time with the Mexicans and drink tequila afterwards. But I have a tie with those two groups as number 2.
Okay. Well,
go, no, you go, Bones. You go.
I want you to finish your 5 first, because I don't want to like anyone that you want to like. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll rip through them then. This is 3, even though I just did 2 the last time. This is number 3. I've got the Japanese fans. 1, because obviously the garbage thing is incredible. They just like pick up garbage at all these stadiums. They're awesome. 2 is because they were like hanging out with Jameis Winston. Like Jameis Winston somehow became like an honorary Japanese fan, which was really, really cool. And then did you see the interview with that guy who was like, he's like, I don't speak English, but I'm having fun, or whatever it was.
I'm really excited.
I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm really excited. That like nothing sums up, I feel like, the Japanese more than that. That was like the coolest, most like wholesome thing I've seen so far in this World Cup. So I have them at 3. At 4, I'm going to go. Did you see the saxophone guy from Germany after the 7-1 win? They were just getting after it. There's hundreds of people surrounding this one guy playing saxophone. And the Germans, again, drinking, we're partying, everyone's having a good time. So I have the Germans there. And then I have 3 other fan bases that I really
with 18 teams.
Top 10.
All right, I know, but I really struggled with this. I want to say I really struggled with this. I'm going to go. Okay, they weren't there in numbers. They might not have been the loudest, but did you see the video? And this wasn't even actually in the United States. Did you see the video of like the dozen Congo fans who were in Portugal, in Lisbon at a live watch party?
Yeah.
And as soon as they scored that goal, the equalizer, like a dozen, like there were thousands of Portugal fans, thousands of them watching on a monitor, and Congo scores, and there's like 12 people that just get excited in the middle of it. It was so funny. Shouts to them for just having the bravery to like basically root for your team in the country that you're obviously playing against. That's not your country. So I'm going to go with the Congo, even though I think the Norwegian fans came close with the rowing up the escalator thing. That was great. And then honorable mention as well to the Algerian fans. It's more of the Algerian fans / players like just taking over Lawrence, Kansas, and like basically just like they've created some like really cool relationship with the people in Kansas, and the people in Kansas love the Algerians. So I think that's really cool too. But I gave it to the Congo because they basically were in massively enemy territory with a dozen people tearing their asses off. So that's my top 5. What I missed? What's good? What I missed?
The best 18-team top 5 that I've ever heard.
We
It was
have to have a
only
knockout
9
round
teams,
to
only
get
9
into
fan
your
bases.
top 5.
Yeah.
I think
Bones,
that the
I'll
Norwegian
let you
fans are in the
think
top
first.
5. They're in my top 5. Norwegian fans are in my top 5. The rowing, their hype video, have you seen that hype video that's been going around? Unbelievable. I also think, for me, their jerseys on their team photo where all the crosses are like matching. For me, that's my favorite jersey in the tournament. I think it's so sick.
It's clean.
Norwegian fans, I think, are in the top 5. Japanese fans, I think, are just always awesome. And I think now, just because of like how we work in the States, where we just interview random people on the street and there's like media everywhere and it's all getting out to us, that we're seeing their personalities more, and they're going for food, they're going for barbecue and all this stuff, and they have to be in the top 5. I agree with you there. But yeah, my one critique is that in my real top 5, Norway is in there, probably in like the 3 or 4 slot.
I'll allow that. And you know what? They have honorary Norwegian Channing Tatum too from that Nike commercial. So they're killing it. I can't argue with that.
I don't have like any strong critiques. I love the way you somehow managed to fit 10 teams in your top 5. I do love that. And I don't have any argument with any of them. I'll go with Bones. The thing is that like on Norway, I think that they have to be in there. just because their chants are unique and they just are very distinct to their own sort of Viking whatever heritage. Which listen, I love that. Also, our chants are fucking terrible, and we obviously need to step up our game big time. Hopefully, this World Cup will be kind of a changing of the mindset on that. But no, listen, I'm on board with all of your picks. Scotland is absolutely, unquestionably number one, especially pound for pound per capita. They just
Their body
ruckus.
People. Yeah.
Like they're just I hope the team actually shows up and does some things on the field to kind of match the energy that the fans are bringing.
Did you see the video of the Scots who had like an Airbnb across the street from somebody and they were just playing bagpipes at like 6 a.m.
Like 5 in the morning.
Flags were out of the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they like went over there and they were offering them drinks at like 6 a.m. It's like, yeah, let's do it.
Took over like a ferry. That's the thing. It's like we're basing like this whole, like all these judgments based on like a few clips that just hit the internet and hit it just right and get on the algorithm. So like I sort of hesitate, but at the same time I'm all in. Let's make sort of blanket statements based on a few viral clips. I'm 100% on board with that. I honestly, overall, what I will add is I'm going to add the Bangladeshi fans, which per capita, there's more Messi fans in Bangladesh than there is, I think, anywhere in the world, including in Rosario, Argentina. Like, it's crazy how much they love him there. I was going to say the Lawrence, Kansas fans. I was going to give the Americans some credit for just completely embracing the Algerian squad and getting on board with that.
Yeah.
I just love.
They deserve an honorable mention, right? They deserve an honorable mention.
Yeah, absolutely. I just love the fact that like there's so much negativity in sort of the build up to this, and some of it rightly so. Like we as Americans should be kind of embarrassed with the way our governments has handled certain things, like telling Iran you got to get the fuck out of the Iranian team, you got to get the fuck out of the country like 5 minutes after their game. That's just so Bush League bullshit. But like. Not to get political, but like
too late.
I know the stories now coming out about sort of the actual human beings on the sort of street as opposed to sort of governments and all this bullshit. This is what the World Cup's all about, and so it's great to sort of see these sort of just people interacting and having fun and being sort of humans all together, and they're. Apart from the Times Square little fights going on between, I think it was Argentina and Algeria, like that. Other than that, I actually haven't seen any sort of negative anything, which maybe my algorithm is curating it for me. But yeah, I'm very excited.
Showing you the positive things in life. What
I know,
which
I don't
believe.
believe.
Oh my God,
I don't believe it. I have no faith in that.
I do think
it's going well.
The last thing from me, I do think there is something to be said about. People have come over, and there's been a ton of people that have been interviewed and that have spoken out and said, we weren't sure what to expect coming to America for the tournament and this and that, and it's exceeded all their expectations. And I just want to, it's a credit to the people in these cities that are hosting these games, the citizens of these cities that are embracing it and making it such a good experience for all these people that are coming to the country to watch their team play soccer in the biggest event in world sports. And I think that is so awesome it could have just been negative all over the place, and people could be pointing out the bad things, and people are trying to take pictures of empty stadiums. And when they pan around these stadiums, I'm seeing full stadiums. I'm not seeing many empty seats. That's not something I'd see. I didn't think that, Foxborough would sell out for Haiti, Scotland. Genuinely, I didn't. Like, it's a big stadium. It's a long way for these people to go. But every single one of these games has been pretty much sold out. I think it's a credit to the way that the tournament has gone so far, the spectacle that it's been. I think for me, it's been better than expected. For me, I was skeptical going in. I think it's been pretty unbelievable. And now that the benchmark's been set, now we can keep raising as the competition keeps growing.
Now that we've had our kumbaya moment, by the way, Steve, I have to add some negativity here. It's just how my brain works. The fucking water breaks. Are you kidding me with this shit? Is FIFA actually going to get away with this?
Okay, wait. Hear me out. I don't like him either. But hear me out. I don't like him either, but hear me out. What if let's compromise? let's compromise. You guys want ads? Fine. You guys want hydration breaks? Fine. I actually don't have a problem with the
Fuck
actual
hydration breaks.
act of the hydration breaks. I don't have an issue with them. What I have an issue with is them cutting away from the game.
GK,
What if we
you
did?
don't even run around anyway.
Yeah, I don't care. For my guys, we're team players. What if we did like a like golf does with the playing through, where they're still showing scenes from the field and there's like a little ad that's playing on the side.
La Liga
I'm
does
with
that,
you.
or not La Liga. Liga MX does that. They have commercials on Telemundo or whatever the station is. They do commercials while the game's going on. Do that.
I don't want it
understand
while
it's
the
all
game's
about
going
money.
on. I don't want it while the game's going on. I don't think that
agree.
it should be
I'd rather
happening
take a
in the
break.
run of play. I have no issue with the hydration breaks. If that's what we want to do, then that's what we're gonna do. And like this is gonna be a thing. It's gonna maybe we can cut it down to 2 minutes, or it's gonna say whatever it is.
No,
Whatever it is. But I
you're
don't think
wrong.
we should be cutting away from the stadium to do ads to then come back to the stadium and then just resuming play from a throw-in.
You're a
I
good
think
person.
you should still
You've
be
got a good
seeing
brain.
scenes, see the
You're dead
benches.
wrong. You're dead wrong. We're cutting the game into quarters. I hate it, and
We're
I've
not
lost
cutting the
respect
game
for you.
into quarters.
I'm glad. I'm with.
It is.
Bones, I'm
That's
with, I'm with
exactly
you.
what they're doing. The game is quarters now. We have 4 quarters of a soccer game. I hate it, and I hate the fact you're doing
You know
But
what's
is it
funny?
really ruining your experience? This is my thing.
No.
Like, do I like
Kinda.
sure, like in a vacuum would
The
I
co-
like
the-
it to not happen? No. Is my enjoyment of this World Cup any more or less because of these? No. I think people listen. I think people like to complain about things. This is not the coolest thing that's ever happened. It's obviously a money grab, but like I'm still. There's no part of me that's like not even 1% less excited about any of these games because there's like a 2-minute break twice a half or once a half. I
This-
don't care.
Here's my thing. There's absolutely zero that anyone on Twitter or anyone with 2 USA flags behind them doing a podcast can do to make the hydration breaks go away in this World Cup. And we can complain about them all we want, but it's like when these things happen, when these initiatives happen, they tend to stick. So you can either embrace it and we can try and debate how to make them as stomachable for the purists like yourself and the people who are forward thinking, like Cerruti and I. Or you can make yourself miserable trying to say this is bullshit and we shouldn't have commercials and hide. I thought you were going with commercials. I didn't know you were talking just hydration breaks. What are we talking about? Who cares?
Yeah, hydration breaks. Listen, the game, part of the game, I know you don't understand this, but part of soccer is being in shape enough to run around for 90 minutes. Yeah, you get a little break halfway through. You don't get a break a quarter of the way through. You don't get a break 3/4 of the way through. It's changing. It's actually fundamentally changing the game. And I hate that.
Okay,
and I'm going to bitch about it. I'm not going to give in to the moneymakers and the bean counters and whoever it is else that you're talking about.
He can't be
Listen,
bought, guys. He can't
they
be
are
bought.
ruining the
Yeah.
sport.
Disagree
I don't know,
wholesheartedly. I'm
I
sorry.
don't know, man. Yeah, they
Disagree.
were there in 2022. They're here now. I don't know. I'm not gonna let it ruin my experience.
You know what? For me,
They're the
the
worst.
only
Listen,
annoying
I'm going
part
to
of
love
them
the.
is
I'll watch. I'm not going to boycott. I'm going to watch the shit out of it. But I hate the TV breaks. I hate them.
for me the only annoying part is that when we call it a hydration break, when it like we're in indoor stadiums and whatever.
Television
We can-
Okay,
commercial
but I'll
money
defend that. I can't believe we spent this much time on this, but I'll defend that. If you give one game a hydration break, you have to give them all a hydration break. or
I
else
agree.
They're not the same.
I agree with that take.
Yeah, so like
For
I
sure.
100% agree
you're
with
right,
you
it
as
is
well.
dumb to do it
None
in
of
dome
them
stadiums.
should have hydration breaks.
All right,
None of
that's
them.
fair.
No game.
But
What
if
are
you have it in
what
one,
are you
you have to have it
talking
in all.
about?
None
What are
of
you?
them.
Okay, well,
No,
you haven't played
that's
in,
soccer.
in July
You're
in
trying
Miami.
to change. You're
And
trying to
I understand that.
bastardize the beautiful game.
I understand that.
And I hate it. I love
I can tell you
and I
from
hate your
experience, a day game in Southern Florida or Southern California or Texas in the summer, you wouldn't even go outside as a normal citizen. You wouldn't even want to sit in your pool.
Right.
It's disgusting outside, and no one should be subject to those type of conditions. And so there are specific times where it is necessary that we give players a chance to catch their breath and hydrate or take a break before the game goes on. And that is like before every game on American soil, the fourth referee or whoever holds a little barometer thing and measures the air conditions, and they say, yeah, we're going to have a hydration break, or no, we're not. And so if we're going to do them for the tournament, for the competition, if one game is going to have it, every single game has to have it. I agree.
I love Sam just trying to like alpha though. So he's like, I'm an elite athlete. I don't need a
Yeah.
hydration break. Like I'm
Yeah.
better than you guys. You guys.
Oh, these guys
built
are
different.
built to
Yeah.
run around for 90 minutes in 100 degrees in
Oh,
the
all
summer.
right, yeah.
The fact
This is what they train
Mr.
for.
18-minute
When I was big,
2-mile Bono is talking about how people need to get in shape already. You need to be in shape. You need to be in shape to play the sport.
I saw you were at TST this year. Did you get on the field, or were you just watching?
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
No. Yes. Work the body. I love it.
Couldn't even get the cut in the
we're
co-ed
just throwing
division.
haymakers.
Like, what are we
now,
talking about?
Yeah, now we're just gonna throw haymakers.
Hey.
All right.
Respect.
Hey,
respect.
we're almost at the 2-hour mark. I think we need a hydration break. Maybe just a beer hydration break for the three
I know,
of us.
we're gonna have to
Bones,
prorate Bono's.
You've given us way too much of your time. We really appreciate it. I think you got practice tomorrow, so hopefully it's not too bad. And hopefully they give you some hydration breaks to practice, because that's we just want to keep it universal. We want to make sure everybody feels equal.
Fairness for everyone, and we're actually gonna start putting commercials on our hydration breaks at training, just to up on the big the footage from from the
Gianni
drone.
Infantino he couldn't be more proud. He could not be more proud of that. So
sponsorship dollars, they're paying for everything.
No, but seriously, you're the man,
Bono's
dude. Thanks for
take
giving
a break
us
from
time.
standing around to stand around a little longer.
Oh my!
Of course he doesn't care.
I hope this continues in the text. I hope this fighting continues in the text chain after this. This will be great. All right, boys. We've been too long. It's midnight after midnight on the East Coast, so we will bid you adieu. Bones, we'll talk to you again. Sam and I will be back with McGee Friday after the U.S. game. So like around 5, a little after 5 Eastern, after the Australia match. So make sure you tune into that. We'll be live, I think, on YouTube and on X/Twitter. So look out for that. And again, if you haven't checked out the Robbie Keane interview, make sure you check out that too. Bones, be good. Good luck. Sam, good to see you. And we'll catch you guys next time.